When a millionaire's MOM wants you as a daughter-in-law. Shocking twist at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3. The air hung heavy with secrets as Jessie opened her front door. Little did she know, tonight would twist her life into something unrecognizable. A luxury sedan idled in her driveway. Glossy black paint gleamed ominously under the moonlight, reflecting shadows that danced like whispers. Her heart raced, every beat echoing the suspense in the night. The first oddity hit her like a slap. The car was marked with a crest, a family emblem renowned for wealth and influence. The Jenkins family, the kind of money that owned half the city. But why here at this hour? A chill shuddered through Jessie. Her breath caught in her throat. She took a hesitant step outside, curiosity getting the better of her. The driver, a stoic figure, stepped out. His slick-back hair glinted, and he adjusted his cufflinks with precise movements, like he was preparing for a grand event. As he walked toward her, a sudden clamor erupted from the back seat. It was a voice so fierce it could shatter glass. "I don't care what you think, Mom. I will marry Jessie." Jess's stomach dropped. Marry? This was her neighbor's son, Dean, a millionaire in his own right, hopping the line between childhood friends and something more. She thought back to the sweet moments they shared, all the laughter. Could it be? Was she really the one they wanted? Her hands trembled as the driver said, "Mrs. Jenkins is quite taken with you, Miss Jessie. She insists that you come with us tonight." What the heck? Who insists on a girl in the middle of the night? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Jess's heart thundered in her chest as she debated. The lavish life, the spotlight, a future she never thought possible loomed before her. She could almost hear the laughter and chatter of high society events, the clink of crystal glasses. Yet, a voice in her head screamed caution. Was this dream really all it appeared to be? "I need answers," Jessie finally said, her voice shaking. "Why me?" The driver took a step closer, his eyes narrowing with intrigue. "You're about to find out more than you bargained for." The night sky seemed to hold its breath, and Jessie realized this was only the beginning. What awaited her on the other side of the car door? The world around her faded, and the door opened. Jessie hesitated at the threshold of the sedan, the driver's gaze piercing through her uncertainty. The cool night air intensified the heat in her cheeks, the prospect of stepping into that glossy vehicle sending shivers down her spine. Dean's voice cut through her thoughts. "Come on, Jessie. This is my chance. I need you." She blinked, reality pulling at her consciousness. His desperation felt tangible, the promise of adventure wrapped in uncertainty. What did Mrs. Jenkins want from her? This was not a simple invitation. It smelled of scheme and recklessness. "What is wrong with you?" Dean shouted, frustration bubbling over. "You can't just stand there. This is our moment." He moved closer, urgency spilling from him. And yet, Jessie felt trapped between the allure of the unknown and the weight of her own normal life waiting behind her. "Enough." The driver interjected sharply. "We need to leave. Now." Jessie felt her heart clench. The driver's tone was final, closing off any chance of retreat. She looked back at her house, the familiar mundane space, and then to Dean, whose eyes sparkled with a mix of hope and defiance. "Fine," she whispered, the words barely a tremor of sound. As she slid into the plush back seat, it engulfed her in an unrealistic comfort. The driver slid into the front, and the car roared to life, tires crunching gravel as it pulled away. Jessie's mind raced, each street they passed prompting a myriad of questions. Where were they going? What awaited her in the world of the Jenkins family? "This is crazy," she finally gasped. She could hear the delight bubbling in Dean's voice, a stark contrast to the tension coiling in her stomach. "We'll figure it out together. Just trust me," he exclaimed, excitement lighting up his face. The city blurred past them until the car took a sharp turn, leading them into an area Jessie didn't recognize: opulent homes with manicured lawns lined with wrought iron gates. The atmosphere shifted, an invisible curtain lifting into a realm of wealth she had only glimpsed on TV. It felt unreal. When they arrived at the Jenkins estate, the driver opened the door, a grand iron arch emerging in front, embellished with the family crest. Jessie hesitated, fear clamping around her heart. "Just take a deep breath, Jess." "You're amazing," Dean said, squeezing her hand before stepping out. His confidence washed over her like warmth, yet her apprehension lingered. The mansion loomed ahead, towering and grand, illuminated by security lights that flickered on as they approached. Jessie's pulse raced, drowning out the sounds of the night as the door swung open. A woman stood inside, wrapped in furs dripping opulence, and her sharp eyes, the exact color of the crest outside, settled on Jessie. Mrs. Jenkins. She was as intimidating as the stories had hinted, powerful and poised, yet something in her gaze felt like a challenge. "Welcome, Jessie," she said, voice smooth yet carrying an edge. "I'm glad you could join us. We have much to discuss." The word sent a jolt to Jessie's core. What had she walked into? The air crackled with potential danger, the tension palpable. Would she truly gain the life she never knew she wanted, or was this the beginning of a nightmare? "And what if I don't want to be here?" Jessie asked, her voice stronger than she felt. Mrs. Jenkins smiled thinly, her eyes glinting with mischief. "Oh, but you do, you just don't know it yet." Jessie knew she was teetering on the edge of something massive, a revelation that could either define her life or shatter it. The feeling of being watched bore down on her, a sensation that something inconceivable lurked just beneath the surface, what lay hidden in the depths of the Jenkins mansion. As the door clicked shut behind her, Jessie knew she was about to find out. The moment the door shut, the atmosphere shifted, charging the air with electric urgency. Jessie felt the world outside vanish, swallowed by the looming walls of the Jenkins mansion, a fortress of wealth and secrets. Shadows danced along the ornate hallways, each flicker cast by delicately placed sconces reflecting the intensity of her pulse. Mrs. Jenkins gestured toward the grand foyer, her smile barely masking the tension beneath. "Shall we?" Jessie hesitated, scanning her surroundings. Lavish chandeliers sparkled above, while portraits of stern ancestors lined the walls, their eyes seeming to bore into her very soul. It is as if they were judging her entrance into this world, this elite, frightening domain. "Jessie!" Dean's voice broke her reverie, pulling her forward. He was already moving ahead, eyes wide with excitement. "You wouldn't believe what she is going to show us. What exactly is this about?" Jessie found herself asking, more to herself than anyone. The question was trapped in her throat, tangling with doubt and fear. Mrs. Jenkins's laugh was soft but edged with steel. "You'll find out soon enough. Let us not waste any more time." The group walked deeper into the mansion, the opulence closing in on Jessie until she could hardly breathe. They crossed into a sprawling living room, where plush sofas and expensive art birthed a civilization of wealth. Jessie's stomach clenched. This was not just excess, it was power incarnate. "Sit," Mrs. Jenkins commanded, her voice a soothing blend of authority and allure. Jessie, propelled by a mixture of fascination and dread, sank into a chair. Dean plopped down beside her, grinning like a kid at Christmas. Mrs. Jenkins adjusted her furs before leaning closer, a glint in her eye. "Now, Jessie, I have a proposition for you. Jessie stiffened, her instincts screaming at her. What kind of proposition? She might have seen the warning signs. Maybe intuition could have saved her. But curiosity was a powerful drug, clouding her judgment. You've been given a rare opportunity, my dear, Mrs. Jenkins said, her voice now lower, almost conspiratorial. You can join our family. My son, Alex, needs someone young and vibrant to breathe life into his world. In return, we will take care of you. You will never want for anything. All it requires is marriage. The word echoed in the cavernous room, disbelief coloring her words. Mrs. Jenkins shrugged, the nonchalance startling. An arrangement, yes. It's the future, Jessie. A bond that benefits us all. You could rise above your ordinary life, leave everything behind. It sounds tempting, doesn't it? All Jessie could think was how deep she was in this mess. And what if I say no? Then, my dear, Mrs. Jenkins replied, steel in her calm, you'll simply go back to being just another face in the crowd. But trust me, you'll have the whole world at your feet if you dare to take this step. Jessie's heart hammered. The stakes were suddenly a game of perception. What did she really know about Mrs. Jenkins, or her son? What is the catch? She pressed, feeling a lump form in her throat that threatened to choke off her words. Catches are for the weak, Mrs. Jenkins said with sharp amusement. This is an opportunity for greatness. And greatness demands some sacrifice, doesn't it? Silence swallowed the room. Jessie could feel Dean watching her. His excitement turned to anxiety. Was this a dream or a nightmare? What price would she have to pay? Think it over, Mrs. Jenkins concluded, that predatory glint still alive in her eyes. But heed this warning, Jessie, the best opportunities come wrapped in the guise of risk. As the weight of her situation crystallized, Jessie felt the walls close in. What would she lose if she said yes? What would she lose if she said no? And, most horrifyingly, who was the enigmatic Alex Jenkins? She glanced around, caught in a web spun from fine silk and sinister threads, and knew she had no idea what she was getting into. The seconds ticked in an unbearable lull, Jessie's mind racing as she weighed her options. Each heartbeat echoed in her ears, the gravity of the situation pulling her deeper into uncertainty. A voice inside screamed for her to get up, to flee, but another part, a curious, reckless part, urged her to stay, to learn, to understand. Dean shifted in his seat, impatience bubbling beneath the surface. Jessie, this could change everything for you. Think about it. A mansion. Parties. Money. You could do so much more than slumming it with the rest of us. Jessie shot him a glare, half resentful. This isn't just about money, Dean. What if there's something dangerous lurking beneath that shiny surface? Mrs. Jenkins leaned back, her expression both amused and contemplative. Oh, but dear, danger is often the spice of life. Are you truly willing to deny yourself a taste of it? Jessie could feel the pressure rising inside her. It was suffocating, the room closing in as her chest tightened in response to the tantalizing prospect of luxury and the unseen threats lurking in the shadows. She had to know more. What kind of person is Alex? She pressed, her voice barely above a whisper. With a slight nod, Mrs. Jenkins began weaving a story that draped around Jessie like velvet. Alex is brilliant but troubled. He has always been different, pensive, withdrawn. This is why he needs you, my dear. To reignite the joy within him, to bring laughter back into our lives. A chill rippled through Jessie. She imagined Alex's life encapsulated within those mansion walls. A world where everything sparkled, but no warmth existed. And you think I can do that? She replied, skepticism flickering in her eyes. Absolutely, Mrs. Jenkins said, her confidence unwavering. But you must commit fully, Jessie. There are expectations, and trust me, you'll need to fight for what you want. But in the end, You'll have the power to shape your destiny. Power and sacrifice. Jess's heart thudded unevenly as she absorbed it all. This was not just a marriage. This was an entryway to a life fueled by cunning and ambition, a dance with the devil at the heart of a gilded cage. A lump formed in her throat, each word tasting bitter as a warning. Would you be willing to sacrifice who you are for who you could be? Mrs. Jenkins pressed, her eyes narrowing, piercing through Jessie's armor. Jessie's mind spun. The question cut through her like a knife, and she shivered at the thought. What parts of herself would she be forced to bury beneath this lavish lifestyle? The fear of losing her identity clenched her stomach into a knot. Before she could respond, the large clock in the foyer chimed, resounding through the mansion. Each note felt like a countdown to something inevitable. Jessie felt the air change, the electricity returning, thrumming with urgency. Time to decide, Jessie, Mrs. Jenkins urged, an edge now creeping into her tone. The clock is ticking, and opportunities like these rarely knock twice. Dean shifted nervously beside her. You don't have to say yes right away. Just think of the possibilities. But what if those possibilities hid something darker? Something Jessie couldn't foresee? Her posture stiffened as an unsettling realization sank in. Secrets wrapped in silk didn't always stay hidden. Is Alex here right now? She asked sharply, expecting a yes or no. Mrs. Jenkins hesitated. A flash of something unreadable crossed her face before she responded. Alex is away at the moment. Business, Mrs. Jenkins answered, confidence straining ever so slightly. What business? Jessie felt her pulse quicken. It was just one more thread of an intricate tapestry she was being drawn into. Could she handle whatever darkness Alex was hiding? Jessie opened her mouth, searching for the right words. She needed to understand what she was truly walking into. But before she could speak, a heavy creak echoed through the mansion, and the unmistakable sound of footsteps trudged toward them. And her heart leapt into her throat. The sense of impending doom hung like a storm cloud as the door to the hallway swung open, and Jessie held her breath, eyes wide in anticipation. Who was coming, and would they alter everything? The door opened slowly, creaking like the world's most ominous grandfather clock. Jessie's pulse raced as a tall figure stepped into the foyer, the dim light casting long shadows across the marble floor. There he stood, Alex. His presence filled the room, an unease swirling in the air heavier than the perfume that lingered. He was the gleaming socialite she had conjured in her mind. His hair was tousled, dark waves framing a face that seemed etched in thought. But it was his eyes, piercing, stormy, that anchored her. They flickered with an intense mix of wariness and curiosity. Jessie? His voice was low, almost hesitant. She gulped, rooted to the spot. Oh yes. That's me. The weight of all those skewed expectations suddenly pressed against her chest. Mrs. Jenkins's smile faltered a little, like sunlight blotted by thick clouds. Alex. There you are. We were just discussing you. Jessie has some questions about your business. Business? He echoed, his brow furrowing as he focused intently on her. Somehow, the room felt smaller, the reality of her predicament sliding closer like a vice. She gathered her nerves, feeling Dean shift slightly beside her, anxiety radiating off him. What kind of business are you into, Alex? She asked, her voice steadier than her heart. His lips tightened into a thin line. Nothing you'd want to know about. An ice-cold prick settled right behind Jessie's ribcage as she met his gaze, uncertainty crackling between them. Jessie's right, Alex. You can't keep shutting people out like this. Mrs. Jenkins interjected, her matronly authority strained under the tension filling the air. He shot her a guarded look. I make decisions that affect many people, and I don't owe anyone explanations. An awkward silence draped over them, heavy like a wool blanket. Jessie could feel the weight of the room, an unnerving sense that she was being weighed and measured, like bargaining chips at a high-stakes poker table. This wasn't what she had imagined. Luxury looked a lot less enticing when paired with secrets. "I just want to understand," Jessie said, fighting through the lump in her throat. "About your world, about how you see me in it." Alex's expression softened, a fleeting glimpse of something vulnerable flickering before his intricate facade reclaimed its spot. "You think it's about what I see. It's about what you're willing to give up." His words stung, pulling her deeper into a swirling vortex of worry. Could she really let her essence slip away for this life? A flicker of resolve ignited within her. "And what am I supposed to give up?" "Everything you think you know about people, Jessie." A sudden crack echoed through the mansion, a thud resonating from the direction of the study. The sound shattered the moment, pulling their attention. Everyone froze. "What was that?" Dean whispered, eyes darting nervously. Mrs. Jenkins glanced at Alex, fear reflecting in her eyes. "I didn't hear anything. Stay here," he commanded, those stormy eyes narrowing. "I'll check it out." And with that, he spun on his heels and strode down the hallway, his footsteps echoing ominously as they resounded through the mansion. Jessie and Dean exchanged worried looks. What had he just walked into? Another sound, a soft whisper, eerily close, fluttered through the air behind them, and Jessie felt her breath hitch. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her heart racing anew, dread blooming inside. Before Dean could answer, the unmistakable thud followed again, louder this time. The mansion felt alive, each creak and murmur heightening her fears. Secrets layered beneath the opulent surface suddenly twisted and turned, like thunder rumbling in a stormy night sky. "Maybe we should leave," Dean's voice faltered, but Jessie stood rooted, a storm brewing inside her. What awaited them in that study? As tendrils of apprehension coiled around her heart, one stark thought screamed through her mind: what if the real danger was about to unravel? In that shadowy mansion, with its wealth seemingly snared in its secrets, Jessie's life was about to take a turn she never expected. But was she strong enough to face it? Her breath caught in her throat. And so, the question loomed: to unravel the darkness, or to turn back before it consumed her whole. The oppressive silence stretched before Jessie, each heartbeat pounding like a drum in her ears. The walls of the mansion felt like they were closing in, constricting her air supply. Dean's grip tightened on her arm, his eyes searching hers for answers they both didn't have. Shadows flickered along the walls as the dim light fought against the deepening darkness. "Jessie, we can't just stay here," Dean said, his voice barely above a whisper, laced with urgency. "Wait," Jessie breathed, her instincts flaring. There was something lurking in the corridor beyond. She could feel it, a tension hanging thick in the air, crackling like static electricity. Suddenly, another sound erupted, a crash this time, loud and violent, followed by a muffled shout from somewhere deep within the maze of the mansion. It sent a shudder down Jessie's spine. "What was that?" Dean asked, stepping back as if the darkness had teeth that could snap at him. "I don't know," Jessie admitted, torn between fear and the undeniable pull to discover the truth. "But Alex, he might need help." She brushed past Dean, the cold marble floor shocking against her bare feet, her instincts guiding her toward the source of the disturbance. She rounded the corner, heart thundering, praying she wouldn't find something horrifying. As Jessie approached the study, the door slightly ajar, she pushed it open. The room was a disarray of opulence, books scattered, a lamp overturned, and the large desk pushed against the wall, as if in a desperate struggle. "Alex?" she called out, her voice shaking as she stepped inside. Her breath caught as her gaze landed on him. He was crouched by the far wall, trying to contain a dark figure that writhed beneath him. Shadows danced across his features, the storm in his eyes replaced by an unmistakable fury and determination. "Get back!" he barked, but it was already too late. The figure, now partially free, turned toward her, revealing a face Jessie recognized. "Lily? What are you doing here?" Jessie gasped, her mind racing. Lily, the socialite with a reputation for drama and intrigue, glared at them, her expression unhinged. Doesn't he want you to know? He has been hiding things from all of us." The distressed outburst made the tension crackle. The room felt like it could implode. "Enough!" Alex yelled, his voice sharp like glass as he wrestled with Lily, who seemed almost feral now. "This isn't the way to handle it. What is going on?" Jessie stepped closer, fear propelling her. "What does she mean?" Lily wriggled, breaking free for a moment, only for Alex to tighten his grip on her again, wrestling her back down. "She's right," he said, gritting through clenched teeth. "But you don't want to be dragged into this mess." "Stay out of it, Jessie," Lily shouted, her wild demeanor piercing through Jessie's heart with each syllable. "Everyone is involved. Secrets, lies, they're all in play." Jessie's world spun. Was she really a pawn? All her questions surged with newfound urgency. What secrets? The moment teetered on the edge of chaos, a fragile tension that could snap at any second. Just then, a loud crash roared from the hallway outside, reverberating through the mansion. "Get down!" Alex barked, pulling Jessie to the floor, shielding her as something heavy crashed into the room. "Alex!" Jessie screamed, her heart now racing for an entirely different reason. The world outside the study felt like it was crashing as dust settled, and the chaos reverberated behind them. Jessie's thoughts blurred in urgency. What were they really fighting against? What dark truth loomed over their heads, and could she really afford to find out? "Jessie, we need to go, now." Alex's voice dragged her back to reality, but the dark shadows of fear and revelation lingered just beyond. Would she follow him, driven by instinct, or remain buried in the secrets that threatened to unravel everything she thought she knew? With each choice echoing loudly in her heart, Jessie glimpsed the doorway. The ground felt unsteady under her feet. But what awaited them in the unknown? As more secrets unraveled, Jessie realized. It was now or never. The dust hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as Jessie's pulse raced. She could feel the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her, urging her to move. "What if we're not safe here?" she whispered, the question barely forming on her lips. Alex seized her arm, pulling her toward the door. "We can't stay exposed. There's too much at stake." Lily, still squirming but growing weaker in Alex's grip, shot them both a crazed look. "You think running will save you? It's in the walls. All of it," she gasped, her breath ragged but laced with urgency. Jessie's eyebrow furrowed at the wild accusation. What could possibly dwell in these old halls? "Enough, Lily," Alex growled, his voice cut with weariness. He seemed to hesitate, his grip loosening as he glanced at Jessie. There's no point in listening to her now. But Jessie's gut twisted, a sense of dread grew heavier, as shadows crept through the corners of her consciousness, feeding on the panic swirling between them. "What does she mean by it's in the walls?" Jessie interjected, shoving against fear. Just then, a low rumble rolled through the mansion. A series of thuds raced through the corridors beyond like a warning drumbeat. The walls shook as if something alive were trying to break free. "There's no time." Alex pulled her again, and Jessie felt torn between following his lead or confronting the storm gathering in the depths of the mansion. "Wait!" she shouted, breaking free from Alex's grip. "Lily, what do you know?" Lily stilled for a moment, her eyes dancing with a mixture of fear and defiance. "There's a reason we were all called here. Secrets tied to the estate, dark, twisted family history. Your presence is the final piece." "Final piece? What do you mean?" Each word was weighed and measured, her heart racing with every passing second. "It's a game," Lily gasped, her voice dropping to a frantic whisper. "A game of blood." They've all been drawn in, and you're next. Jessie's skin prickled. Who's they? But her question hung in the air, unanswered. The door behind them rattled violently, a force unseen unleashing its fury. Jessie's breath hitched as she noticed the shadows flickering beyond the threshold. They pulsed like a living entity, hungry and ready to devour. Alex! She screamed, the sound raw as she felt terror flooding her senses. What are we supposed to do? He glanced back, his eyes narrowing with determination. We need to find the exit and get out. Now! But before they could make a move, the door burst open, and a pair of figures stepped into the room. Electric shock ran through Jessie. At that moment, time seemed to freeze. The figures wore expressions of resolve twisted with malice, as if they'd come to collect something owed. Did you really think you could leave? One of them taunted, a cruel smile spreading across his face. Stay where you are, Alex commanded, stepping protectively in front of Jessie. You want to take her. But Jessie felt something dark rising within her, something responding to the chaos. Emotions clashed: fear, defiance, and an unexpected resolve. A voice echoed in her mind, haunting yet powerful. There was only one thing left to do. In a moment of sheer instinct, she pushed past Alex, stepping toward the figures. I'm not going anywhere until I know the truth. Her heart pounded deafeningly, yet beneath the turmoil, Jessie sensed a crack in the darkness that offered a flicker of hope. But as the figures advanced, Jessie wondered what truth awaited her. Could she withstand the storm, or would it consume her whole? Alex's voice was a warning laced with desperation. What had she just unleashed? As shadows closed in, she realized there was no turning back now. And the real game was just beginning. The figures stepped closer, swirling shadows trailing behind them like smoke. Jessie felt her heartbeat quicken, her breath trapped in her throat. I said I want the truth, she repeated, her voice a fragile shield against the dread closing in. One of the figures stepped forward, a tall man with sharp eyes that gleamed in the dim light. Your curiosity will be your downfall, he said, his voice smooth like silk but edged with something darker. Jessie's stomach twisted at the threat veiled in charm. Behind her, Alex shifted, his protective stance faltering. You can't let them manipulate you, he shouted, but Jessie sensed her power growing. Something deep and primal acknowledged the fear, clawing at her insides, begging to emerge. Let her go, she demanded, surprising herself with the strength in her voice. What game are you playing? The man laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the ruined halls. This isn't a game, dear girl. This is survival. You're here for a reason, and denying it only puts you further at risk. What reason? Jessie felt the walls start to constrict around her, pulsing like a heartbeat. The air crackled with dark energy. Lily, still watching from Alex's grip, gasped softly. You're the key. The last scion of a legacy long buried. Do you remember the stories? The ones whispered about family curses and debts? Jessie shook her head, confusion wrapping around her like a thick fog. I don't know anything about that. Exactly. The second figure, a woman with sharp features and hair that fell in cascades of dark curls, stepped forward. Her eyes were hollow yet piercing. You'll learn soon enough. This is just the beginning. The two figures moved together, almost symbiotically, advancing with a predator's grace. Jessie felt a surge of panic. They were hunting her, just like every whispered legend of her bloodline warned. Suddenly, the room shook again, the mansion protesting as if it were alive. Dust rained down like tiny stars, and Jessie caught the scent of decay mixed with something sweet. It was intoxicating. Enough, Alex growled, stepping in front of Jessie. We're not afraid of you. Oh, but you should be, the man said, chuckling darkly. The game is already underway, and I do so enjoy the thrill of a chase. Who says we're playing your game? Jessie demanded, trying to reclaim her voice. But beneath the bravado, uncertainty clung to her. "We'll just leave." The woman interrupted, her laughter tinkling like chimes, cold and cutting. "There's nowhere to run. You think those doors will lead you out? They've been sealed for years. You're ours now." A fleeting glance exchanged between the figures sent a chill dancing up Jesse's spine. They had anticipated this moment, orchestrated it, like marionette masters pulling the strings. "No!" Jesse shouted, the word reverberating through the halls. It was both a plea and a command. She felt that darkness within her stirring, trying to claw through her skin. "What are you?" Alex whispered beside her, eyes wide with fear as he grasped her arm tighter. "I don't know," Jessie cried, the admission raw and terrifying, as if it were not entirely her voice speaking. Before they could respond, a door further down the corridor swung open, and a blinding light spilled into the room. Instinctively, Jessie glanced at it, hope swelling in her chest. Maybe that was an escape, a chance for freedom. "Don't even think about it," the man hissed, his form shifting angrily. "I have to," Jessie gasped, her feet moving before her mind could process the action. She broke free from Alex, diving toward the light, the shadows crashing behind her. "Jessie," Alex called, but her focus was narrowed, instinct driving her forward. Maybe, just maybe, the light held the truth she desperately sought. As she lunged for the bright doorway, the shadows surged closer, grasping at her like fingers from beyond the grave. All sense of urgency screamed inside her this was it, but Jessie could feel the pull of both the light and the darkness, and she realized that she had been drawn into the depths of a legacy she neither understood nor anticipated. What secrets lay ahead? And at what cost would the truth be revealed? The light flickered, the shadows pressed in tight, and the last thought that crossed Jessie's mind was a single question: would she survive what awaited her on the other side? Jessie soared through the light, feeling it wash over her like warm water. But that comfort was short-lived. Just as she felt a hope she hadn't dared to believe in, the light shifted into an overwhelming brightness that nearly blinded her. Then, in an instant, she crashed back to reality, not the freedom she had envisioned, but another dim corridor. The walls here were damp, covered with dark vines that twisted like snakes. Shadows pulled around her, thicker than ever, and she spun, gasping for air as the reality of her situation smacked her like a cold wave. "Where am I?" she whispered, panic clawing at her throat. Just a little deeper, a voice cooed, smooth and sinister. Jessie whipped around to find the man from before, his grin broader, more predatory. The woman stood beside him, her expression inscrutable as she watched Jessie with predatory delight. The shadows behind them danced, flickering like restless spirits. "You thought you could escape?" the man taunted, advancing slowly, each step deliberate. "You're far too important for that." "What do you want from me?" Jessie shouted, stepping back. She felt her heart hammering, the walls pressing in. The weight of the moment threatened to crush her. Such a simple question for such a complicated situation, he sneered, his eyes glinting like shards of ice. "You're the key to a legacy, Jessie. Without you, everything crumbles." Jessie felt her mind racing. She struggled to process the bizarre notion of being a key and object. How could I possibly be important to anything? "I'm just me." The woman stepped forward, her expression now a mix of ferocity and intrigue. "Oh, but you're more than just you. You carry the blood of ancients. The history flows through you like a river, wild and uncontrollable." Jessie's legs felt weak, as if the ground beneath her was made of sand. Memories surged unbidden, flashes from her childhood. She could almost hear the fragmented whispers of her grandmother, tales of curses and deaths, of looming shadows, and a lost inheritance, but they had always felt like stories meant to scare, never anything real. "Think of all the power you could unlock," the man continued, his voice hypnotic. You could end our struggle. You could be our savior. Savior? Jessie scoffed, her voice shaking. More like a pawn in your twisted game. Call it what you like, the woman interjected sharply, her eyes narrowing. But know this, denial isn't an option. You're already deeper in this than you think. Just then, a rumble echoed through the corridor. It felt as if the very foundations of the mansion were trembling in fear. Dust and debris fell from the ceiling, and Jessie instinctively ducked, her instincts screaming for her to run. Control it. The man commanded suddenly, and Jessie saw the shadows around him flicker and leap. You're the only one who can stabilize them. What? She cried. How can I do that? The woman stepped closer, her voice low and urgent. It's in you. It's always been in you. Channel your fear, Jessie. Trust in what you are. What I am. The weight of her heritage pressed down, suffocating her. I'm not a sorceress. I'm just a girl with a crazy family story. But as she said it, a thrum of electricity sparked within her. She could feel it now even without understanding it fully. The shadows, the fear, the light, they all swirled inside, a tempest of potential. Do it! They shouted in unison, shadows stretching toward her with a desperate hunger. Fear met determination in her chest. Jessie breathed deeply, the swirling chaos within her filling her with something fierce. With a shout that echoed through the corridor, she focused, summoning the dark energy swirling around. Would it respond? Would it listen? The mansion trembled again, and Jessie braced herself for whatever came next, uncertain if she could truly grasp her fate or if it would consume her entirely. As the shadows converged, a piercing light burst from her palms, illuminating the corridor in blinding brilliance. But was this the light of hope, or a flickering warning of the darkness destined to devour her? With her heart pounding, Jessie stood at the crossroads of destiny, the truth finally within reach, but at what price? A surge of energy burst from Jessie, illuminating the corridor in an explosive flash of light. The shadows recoiled, screeching like tortured souls retreating from the dawn. Jessie stood at the center of the radiant glow, fear mingling with exhilaration. She felt alive, truly alive, power coursing through her like wildfire. What is this? The man howled, his confident demeanor now marred by terror. The key is within you, Jessie. The woman shrieked, but her eyes were no longer filled with threat, they flickered with a mix of fear and awe. Jessie couldn't shake the feeling that she had stumbled into something greater than herself. You think you can manipulate me? She shouted, her voice strong and unwavering. This darkness isn't mine to control. I refuse to be a pawn in your twisted game. As she spoke, the brilliance around her intensified, illuminating the cold stone walls of the mansion like morning sunrise piercing the night. The shadows danced angrily, swirling in chaotic formations, desperate to escape the impending light. Their menacing forms twisted in agony as they fought against the power she wielded. Channel it, the man urged, reaching out a hand as if he could grasp this newfound strength. Use it. We can achieve greatness together. But Jessie shook her head, her spirit igniting with defiance. I want to be part of your darkness. This power is mine, and I get to decide how to use it. The air thickened with energy, her heart echoing the rhythm of the storm brewing within her. As she focused, she felt the shadows shift, subdued by her will, drawn by the light now radiating from her core. Enough. The woman hissed, her voice scratching against the vibrant resonance. You're a fool if you believe you can stop this. And then, the mansion quaked. A violent roar shook the very foundations, dust spiraled around like lost spirits, and the oppressive walls seemed to lean in, urging her to give in to fear. Jessie loosened her grip on fear, channeling it instead into strength. I want to let this place swallow me whole. Suddenly, the shadows writhed violently, a tempest rising around her, claws of darkness slashing at the edges of her light. You're too late, The man grinned, his expression twisted. The legacy will consume you. It will turn you into what we need. But Jessie refused to falter. This isn't a legacy. It's a curse. Drawing deep within, she focused on her past. The whispers of her grandmother resonated in her mind. Stories of bravery and battles fought long before her time. Summoning that courage, she directed her energy outward, a beam of pure light bursting forth like a supernova, pushing back the shadows. The blinded figures screamed, struggling against the force threatening to engulf them. "No! You can tea!" But their words were drowned out by the roar of the light. Jessie held her ground, her senses heightened, revealing a clarity she'd never known. The darkness began to collapse in on itself, consumed by the purity of her light. With one final push, Jessie unleashed everything: the pain, the fear, the anger, all transformed into blinding hope. The shadows screamed as they dissipated into smoke, swept away like the remnants of a forgotten nightmare. The tranquility of the corridor returned, and Jessie gasped, collapsing to her knees. The room brightened, warmth flooding over her. As the dust settled around her, she took a shuddering breath, relief washing over her, but a new weight hovered in her heart. "Jessie?" Alex's voice broke through the silence. Concern etched across his features as he stepped cautiously into the light. The tension melted as he knelt beside her, his eyes filled with admiration and fear intertwined. "You did it, you fought them off." A wave of exhaustion washed over her. "But what does this mean? The legacy, what about it?" Alex's gaze was earnest, his sincerity cutting through her doubts. "You've broken their hold. Now we can learn the truth. It's not about what they wanted you to be, it's about who you choose to become." Jessie felt tears spring to her eyes, the exhaustion mixing with a swell of emotion. "I had no idea what I was stepping into. I can't. You can. You're not alone anymore." He took her hand in his, the warmth reassuring, igniting a small, flickering candle of hope in her chest. "But what about the mansion? The legacy?" Jessie whispered, glancing around at the heavy shadows lining the walls where darkness had once lurked. "It holds history, but it doesn't define you. Together, we can face it. We'll uncover the truth, piece by piece," he promised, and for the first time, she saw clarity in his stormy eyes and understanding of the brave path they would forge. As they remained there, the remnants of chaos dissipating into silence, Jessie felt a deep shift within her. She was no longer a pawn, but a player in her own destiny, a chance to create her own legacy, one not entwined with shadows, but illuminated by her strength. With that newfound resolve, Jessie rose to her feet, determined to embrace the journey ahead. Let us uncover the truth together. And side by side, they stepped into the soft light, ready to face whatever lay beyond, prepared to rewrite their fates, unearthing the stories buried deep within the heart of the Jenkins legacy. But even as they walked forward, Jessie couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows still watched from afar, hiding their secrets. Nevertheless, she knew one thing: she would never again let fear dictate her life. She was ready to shine, no matter the cost. This was her moment. This was just the beginning. Now, as you've reached this conclusion, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel to ensure you don't miss any upcoming exclusive stories. Smash that like button now. It truly feeds the algorithm and helps bring more stories to life. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. We want to hear from you. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this conclusion. Your engagement keeps our community growing, and only the true fans understand the importance of these actions. Let us do this.